Hey guys, Chicky the Main, aka Deboo.com with Deboo.com surf forecast update. This forecast update effective around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, July 6, 2014. And give you a look at the big picture here, guys. We've got Arthur up here in the top right-hand portion of your screen. And remember, Arthur dropped out of the South Carolina coast down in here towards the Bahamas and then lifted back up and then went off towards the northeast. So as he was spinning away, this is Arthur's wake in here. We wanted to show you this because, as you can see, this extends back in here towards an area of low pressure off the northeast Florida coast. Yesterday, National Hurricane Center noted a weak 1019 millibar area of low pressure in here just east of North Florida. And then if you take and draw an imaginary line down in here towards Mexico, you can see if we started here, draw our line here, come up over this low here and into Arthur's wake, and the counterclockwise rotation is still here, you can see that everything looks to be that it's being pulled off this way. Now, we know everything south of the tip of Florida in here is an east to west movement. There's a tropical wave in here. That's the only other thing. And then it looks like we're going to go back into small for all for an extended period. Hate to say that. Maybe some southeast trade wind swell. But there's a tropical wave that's right in here over Hispaniola. But we're watching this area of low pressure again this morning. It got ripped apart yesterday afternoon. National Hurricane Center not saying that anything is going to develop. This overnight run of the Canadian model, the only one hinting. But we are starting to see a little east-northeast groundswell develop on Gray's Reef and on the South Hatteras buoy. If you go check the buoys right now, 10 a.m., you'll see what we're talking about. We posted a couple of images on Facebook and Twitter. But let's get into this a little bit deeper here, guys. Here's a little bit close-up look of this area of low pressure. And it's interesting to note that in the last week, we've had two areas of low pressure off the southeast U.S. I want you to think about the start of the East Pacific season with two areas of low pressure in the East Pacific, and both turned out to be major hurricanes. In the early seasonal forecast, a lot of forecasters were talking about how stuff would develop close to the coast, which is known as homegrown development for you newbies out there in tropical development. And homegrown essentially means an area of low pressure developing close to the coast. And the early season worry was these systems were going to develop close to the coast and try and rapidly intensify. Joe Bastardi from weatherbell.com was one of the first ones on that, him and Ryan Maui, and you can see that this has got good signature. Unfortunately, if the environmental conditions were a little bit more favorable, we could have seen rapid development here, and how ironic it would have been to see two storms in the East Pacific to start off the 2014 hurricane season, and then two areas of low pressure in here off the southeast U.S., mimicking what we just saw over in the East Pacific. Now, guys, who would ever thought that Arthur could attain Cat 2 status in the first week of July? You know, this is something that we typically worry about in August and September. But guys, look at this. I mean, this looks good. Does not look like it's going to develop, but from a surfer's forecast or standpoint, this is, we keep an eye on these kind of things, and there is a little swell starting to show. We're going to put it in motion for you. A lot of times, guys, when we do our updates this time of year, we have to wait for the visual satellite imagery to come in so we can actually see it and try and detect spin. And as you can see in this looping image right here, again, we're back to where we were yesterday. This looks very good. This is right over the Gulf Stream. One of the negatives could be that because Arthur was spinning up in here, he could have churned up some cooler water, which would not allow this area of low pressure to develop rapidly. In talking with several people, because it's along the Gulf Stream and the Gulf Stream is always moving, a lot of people don't like that theory, but we know that whenever a storm can sit over a particular area, upwelling occurs and can cool off the waters. So we're still watching this. Taking a closer look again this morning, here's a longer loop infrared, and you can see, again, convection firing up this morning, and watch how this convection here wants to try and spin down. Again, wind shear from about the Florida-Georgia coast northward is unfavorable for development, but just off the East Florida coast it is. We're just going to have to watch and see what happens today. Again, basically the same thing happened. We've got a trough that's building over here in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's putting the push on, and that's why you're seeing all the convective activity firing off the southwest Florida coast in here. So that's all we got for you for now, guys. Look at the buoys, and for you guys in Northeast Florida, could be a little sneaker longboard wave. I'd keep an eye on it. Stay tuned for the next update.